I started playing piano at the age of 4, and I studied it right through from the elementaries right through to Bartók. And when I was 18, I stopped studying classical piano. During the meantime, I'd got interested in jazz and improvised music when I was 14. That was traditional jazz. When I was at school, I got interested in that. As a boy, was interested in traditional jazz. And from there, playing in bands through my teenage years, until I turned professional at the age of 20, 21, I got involved in improvised music through jazz. And I would consider myself, I hate pigeonholing and labels, but I would consider myself a jazz musician and not an improvising musician even now. The avant-garde jazz musician can and will now mix very freely with a whole generation of improvisers who are in fact have not come from a jazz backdrop. They've come from a post-war European music, Stockhausen. If it's total improvisation without any architecture, without any metric time, without any preconceived composition, if it's total improvisation, what does it give me? It gives me, when it's working, it gives me a sense of achievement which no other musics which I'm involved in can. There's a danger there, and on the other hand, the only difference between writing music and total improvisation is that the improvisation is just composition sped up. It's just quicker. You are actually doing it in front of people, whereas preconceived composition, you're sitting at home and changing notes and you have more time to prepare the shape, the colors. When you're totally improvising, it's a more dangerous affair, and it's a more democratic way of making music as well. It's probably the closest thing to socialism in music.
When everything that we know is forever dead and all the things in the world we love have gone away. Maybe then will come the dawn of another day. And of all men, for the end.
I am a performer. I'm not an intellectual or a backroom musician. I get my artistic feedback from being on stage and trying to move and communicate with an audience, whether there's 2 people out there or whether there's 20,000. It makes no difference. My role, or a musician's role in society, is to be, as I see it anyway, is to be a servant. A servant without prostitution. I want to give what I have humbly and do it as sincerely as I can. And that's why I use the word servant. But I want to do it under my own terms. And my own terms are that I require decent acoustics, a decent piano, and if it's preconceived composition, enough rehearsal time so that when one is in performance, all the hard work, all the preparation has been done to our satisfaction. I like being on stage. It's the most private place in the world once you've got over your nerves. Even with preconceived composition, you've still got to prepare your head and your body and get a balance before you go on, physically and mentally. I feel the same nerves with either form of music. The nerves are no different. There's a very thin line between being successful with an audience and not. And in my solo work, again, I don't know what I'm going to play. It's totally improvised. But I only have to deal with myself. So even in improvised music, one develops a vocabulary. One's voice is. And there's a very thin line between your vocabulary and nervous musical habits. And I'm forever, and I hope I always will, cut off my nervous habits. But I don't want to cut off any of my musical vocabulary. It's like a plant, it's like a rose. If you prune it properly, then it grows healthily. But if you cut off the main stem, then you stunt its growth. And to learn and study and develop more becomes harder and harder and harder, because the more you know, the more you realize that you're never going to achieve perfection. And perhaps that's the wonderful thing about art, is that you never, ever can. And once when I was a boy chorister and my voice was breaking and I was singing in a very beautiful choir in St. Thomas the Martyr Church in Bristol, and I had the solo in an anthem by Purcell, and I was very worried because in choir practice, because my voice was breaking, I was not hitting the top note, and that was affecting the whole structure of the line. And there was a particularly different interval as well, which, because my voice was close to going, I was concerned about. But it was a really beautiful anthem and a very difficult one. And on the night of the performance, I sang that anthem and the intervals and the top note as pure as I could ever have done. And I knew it was the first time that I'd had a really magical experience, and it was as though a golden light had come down, and it wasn't just me. The whole church knew about it. It wasn't just because I was singing the top note, or it was because of the whole interpretation. And it's happened about 13, 14 times since I've been a professional musician. And the longest I've achieved it is for about 2 or 3 minutes, when it's not you playing, and you seem to be enveloped by a light, and what you just become a channel for the spirits. But in a way, you're dealing with the occult, in a way, not in a conscious way, but when you open yourself out like that, when you become a receiver, like a radio receiver like that, you have to be very, very careful that your heart is pure and in the right place, or else you can get the bad spirits as well as good, and I don't want to mess about with that. All I want to do is try and get myself into a mental and physical and spiritual state where the opportunity is there to achieve that purity. And as I said, it's a very difficult thing for me to achieve, and some musicians have never experienced it. But if you experience it just for a split second, you want it. You want it. That's what you go for all the time. But it's impossible to achieve it all the time. have to take money home and put it on the kitchen table. No point me going away for 3 weeks and coming back with nothing. Okay, it's okay for the playing, and it's okay for taking the music to the people, but while I'm away, my family have to live. So I'm also, you know, concerned about money.